One thing technology has made it easy for everyone, every business to do is to work with people globally. And it's become easier than it was years ago. These days, a lot of businesses, for different reasons, to find diverse talent, to cut costs, offshore some of their roles, some of their roles to different countries around the world. But today's episode, we'll be taking it a step further. We'll be talking about outsourcing with AI. So getting virtual assistants and making them more productive, more efficient using AI. And today to talk about that with us is Jenna Hatch. So welcome to the Tech Your Business podcast, Jenna.
Thank you, Peter. I'm like really excited to be here. Really excited to spread the message, about how people can really get like that multiplicative effect in their business by doing a combination of the two.
Thank you. So can you just tell us what made you realize or what made you think about that combination, combining AI with human virtual assistants?
Yeah. So let me tell you a story about how I got into it, about, how this whole idea of creating the synergy between AI technology and offshore VAs happened. So I was literally doing a discovery call with a potential client, and she says to me, "Hey, Jen, I have to wrap this up. I have to go downtown Austin to a class. Where they're basically teaching it's called the rising trend of the one person business, and they were teaching a class on how to be a solo entrepreneur. And so honestly, my mind was kind of blown because that is my target audience. And how often do you just get your target audience served on a platter? So I was like, all right, let me go check this out. And when I went downtown Austin to this particular class, uh, my mind was instantly blown. I hadn't learned much about AI technology up to that point. I believe this was probably like April or May. And when I tell you my mind was blown, it's because I sat there, I was interacting with the teacher, and he was going over all of these different AI technologies that you can use in your business to be able to scale faster. But this underlying message from him was, here's this piece of technology. This is how you use it, whether it was, make.com or Zapier or whatever, creating these automations. But then he took it one step further and he said, and make sure you hire a virtual assistant to do this for you. Because really what happens then is, you land the job, you use the AI tools to get that job done either faster or more efficient, but also how much are you worth per hour? Have a VA do it. You land the job, you have the VA do it, you collect the paycheck and like rinse and repeat. And so I was like, oh my goodness, like that's a really interesting concept. And I've only officially launched my business in April of 2024. And prior to that, I was just kind of, I've been in a bunch of different industries, but I pride myself in taking a little piece of information from, every job or career path that I've been
Yeah.
on and kind of creating something new with it, right? And so with this new information, it kind of gave me the aha moment about my own business, which was there's a better way to do this. Um, and so having an outsourcing company, an offshoring company, I had been talking to a lot of different people. And one common message that I was hearing a lot was, I hired a VA. I love them so much. And then somebody got sick or, they found a better opportunity. And then I was left high and dry and I didn't even know what to do. So all of these things in my head kind of came together and aligned. And I started thinking about, well, what if we had the VA that was trained in the AI tools? And now instead of people thinking, hiring a virtual assistant is just about offloading all of those, the mundane tasks, the grunt work to somebody, what if we automated all those mundane tasks and we automated all that grunt work per se? Now that that's doing its own thing, your virtual assistant, which in my eyes is meant to be like a trusted partner that's equally as invested in seeing you succeed as you are, Now, this person, you're able to delegate the higher level tasks, basically the things that you would have done, right? It's like you hired your VA to do all this grunt work. So now you're doing these higher level tasks, but you're still
Yeah.
working in your business, not on it, right? But if you automate with AI technology that grunt work and you start delegating the higher level tasks to your VA, you are
Mhm.
truly now free to go out there, do the networking, to meet people, shake hands, kiss babies, whatever you want to say, to be able to actually bring the business in, right? It's like,
Mm.
maybe instead of having somebody do the paperwork, maybe now you're having them host the discovery call so that you don't
Mm.
have to do that, right? And now you're literally just out there bringing people in to have your VA sell the services. And I know that kind of comes with a whole other, like, we kind of talk about that too, but I know there's a lot of people who are hesitant about having offshore virtual assistants like host their discovery calls because of accent and things like that. But that's a whole other bridge. That's how
Interesting, because
yeah.
yeah, because and that's actually what I was about to ask. Say if the routine things go to AI, and then things like the discovery call and co go to a VA, like what sort of training, how confidence would, because I know that that's a block a lot of people have. They might not be too confident in the ability of that VA to actually close those discovery calls or those sales calls. So how do you make sure
Yes,
that they are able to do this efficiently, at least up to your level or even better?
absolutely. So here's the thing. Everybody has their own style, their own way of selling, their own vision for their business, right? And honestly, using some of the AI tools is really how you can make sure that this person is trained properly. So, for example, whenever I do my discovery calls, just like a Zoom call, right? We use Fathom AI, right? There's Otter, there's a whole bunch of other like note taking AI apps or tools that will come into like your Zoom room and record the meeting, give you a transcript, give you action items, things like that. So whenever we are onboarding somebody new, we literally say to them, just like we're doing here, host a Zoom call, get yourself an AI tool that is in the room with you recording, and then use that transcript. You could literally have, it's basically an SOP at that point, right? It's your standard operating procedure. If you are doing a Zoom call, sharing your screen and, simultaneously, like in real time, showing your virtual assistant, this is what you're going to do first, this is what you're going to do second, this is what you're going to do third, that transcript afterwards, you already have it now, and that's your standard operating procedure, right? So you have a video of what you're doing, you have a transcript, a paper trail of what you're
Hmm.
doing. And as you continue to build these, you're literally building an online digital library of training, right? Where you may never have to even go back and train somebody else again, because if you want to bring somebody new in, kind of going back to the whole, when you're left high and dry, right? What do you do?
Yeah.
Well, we might not have all the time in the world to train a second, a third, a fourth person. But if you do it one time with an AI tool and it's recorded, the next time somebody comes in, you can just say, hey, I need you to watch this video, and this video. Come back to me with what you've learned. You're not spending that time like retraining over and over and over, right? Um, I had a second point about the Zoom call. So you could be there. I mean, there are things like Loom as well, right? But I had a second point about the Zoom call that escapes me now. Um, but yes, so you basically can just go on the Zoom call. You can either press record directly in Zoom. You'll get a video from there. And let me tell you something. If you don't have things like Fathom or Otter, you can literally just record in Zoom. There is a website called there's an AI for that.com.
Hmm.
Go to that website, type in, hey, I need something that takes a video and transcribes it. I bet you anything you can find a free option to transcribe that video. Again, putting it into paper form now. And then there are plenty of other tools after that too. Let's just take ChatGPT, where you can take that transcript, have it summarize what was this training about? What were the main points that I highlighted, right? What are the things that someone should take away from this training? You can use ChatGPT to do something like that. You can use ChatGPT to put, take this transcript and we talked about when we're prospecting, I need somebody to find the name of the person, the email of the person, the phone number, and their website, right?
Hmm.
You can literally take something like that, pop it into ChatGPT and say, create a table for me and have it say name, email address, phone number, website. And ChatGPT will create the table, the Excel spreadsheet, whatever you tell it to do, and you can just download it from there. So it truly is, I mean, the after leaving my friend's class, my mind was blown with how much is possible, but I will also tell you it's extremely overwhelming. And honestly, that's kind of another reason why you should also have a virtual assistant. It's not about adding more work to your plate, but when you
Yeah.
see the amount of work or the amount of things that are possible, we don't often have time to explore all that. But if you're paying somebody $10 an hour, I would pay somebody $50 to take 5 hours to learn this tool, right? Like you learn it, come back to me, and then let's implement it.
Interesting. So now, I think I have from that answer, I have one question. So the VA, from what I understand, the VA is the one that assigns the task to the AI that sends the prompt to your AI, whatever, and still handles these higher level tasks. So maybe to make it clearer for us, you can just walk us through a typical day of someone who is using this system, how it works.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so let's give a legitimate example here. So let's say that you are in like a boardroom. Again, let's say it's a virtual boardroom. Okay,
Okay.
and at the end of this meeting, your job is going to be to put together a presentation for your clients. Okay. And there comes my other idea right back to me. Yay, this is great. So the other thing I want to talk about Zoom, having your virtual assistant be a fly on the wall. Okay.
Hmm.
So if you're training somebody, so this, it all kind of ties together here. We have this board meeting and and you want to train your VA on these are the next steps that we take after we have a board meeting normally. So what
Okay.
I would suggest is have your VA join in the Zoom call with you. Still have your AI note taker, but have them join in the Zoom call, mute, camera off, just be a fly on the wall so they can see how you go about this entire presentation. Because ultimately, you want to find somebody that is going to be an extension of you and your tone and your message for your business, right?
Okay.
Bring them in, have them be a fly on the wall. After that entire meeting, it's now your job to take the notes and put it into a presentation. You grab the transcript from Fathom, Otter, whatever AI tool you're using. You can pop it over to ChatGPT to summarize. There's another tool that I use quite often called Gamma. And what Gamma is really wonderful at, they do presentations, almost like PowerPoint presentations, websites or documents. Okay. And and you kind of have to play with these things too, because AI is only as good as your prompt is, right? Whatever you
Yeah.
kind of plug in on the front end is, what you're going to get as a result. And so that's kind of where the most amount of time is being spent right now, learning how to use these AI tools, and how to effectively prompt them, right? So we take our transcript, you could pop it in ChatGPT to summarize, or you can literally just take the transcript over to Gamma, paste in the text, say, from this, I want to create a document.
Mhm.
It's again mind blowing. You can tell it, hey, I want you to use AI to really generate from this text summaries, and you do the work, AI, right? Like you figure it out. I'm going to let you do it. Or you can tell it, the material that we have in here, the words that we're using, the phrases that we've said, We really want to keep that like authentic, and we want to make sure that our voice is still there. So don't just generate anything. Keep some of what we said, right? Or you can just
Yeah.
tell it to be very, very strict and only use the material I'm giving you. Okay, so you have those options. You have other options like the tone, right? So, do you want to make this presentation persuasive? Do you want to make it informative? Do you want to make it professional? On Gamma itself, it says like, who is this presentation for? So I would type in something like, this presentation is for my colleagues or, the other executives in the room, my C-suite, whatever it is. And, this is for the C-suite of this company. I want it to be informative and straight to the point, right? You plug and chug there, and within seconds, you now have, let's say, a document. You now have a document that you can go in and tweak it. What I always suggest to people is having your VA be the fly on the wall is teaching them, again, how you operate your business. Hopefully, and these things all come in time, right? But hopefully from them seeing you do all of that, they can then bring it over to whatever other AI tools you need. Let's say Gamma is the endpoint. Gamma goes ahead and makes this document, and then they can go back into it, edit it to make it sound like it's coming from you directly, right? Like, oh, Jenna completely wrote this from scratch.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Right. So that is kind of the point of having your virtual assistant be that partner, instead of just somebody to offload the grunt work, right? It's them understanding you and just being like a representative, an extension of you. So I would say like that is an example of how I would use it. I would go into a Zoom meeting, grab the transcript, pop it over to maybe ChatGPT to summarize, pop it over to Gamma to create the presentation. You download it in a PDF and you can send it out to everybody. This is a recap of our meeting for today. And these are the action items that I need people to do. And that could take you all of 5 minutes if you have the right people and the right tools.
Amazing. So now, I think one thing, especially with solopreneurs who say are your target audience, one issue that's common with them is issue of trust. They have trust issues, and for a lot of them, from what you just described, you say the VA is going to be like a partner in your business. That means they know everything about your business from onboarding clients and everything. So now, a lot of people might be afraid that when the VA knows all this, what stops the VA from taking the business over or just taking over their client list or doing the business on the side, maybe taking some clients and pushing some clients across?
Mm-hmm. It's a really great point. And honestly, Peter, I don't think, I mean, I have ways, and I'll tell you to like kind of safeguard against it. But I think the reality of it is people will be people at the end of the day. I don't think we can protect ourselves against everything. I think we can, be vigilant about it and try and make sure make sure you have cybersecurity in place. One of the things that I usually tell people is, I think there's something called one password, but we
Yeah.
use LastPass, LASTPASS. So we use LastPass. And so what that does, there are certain apps or like all of my financial platforms, right? Like Stripe, things like that, where I am the only person to access that. At the end of the day, I am the business owner, right? And so that the things that are the most sensitive, I handle myself. That is how I find that is like the best way that works for me, I guess you would say. But LastPass is something truly amazing because I can have anyone, if I can share my login information with somebody. They literally just click a button and it launches the website. It logs them in as if they were me. But if anything were to go south and this person is not going to work for me anymore, I can literally just go into LastPass and revoke access to the person that I gave access to, and it will shut it down in a minute, right? The other thing that I usually tell people is if you use, for example, Google Workspace, one of I mean, you want to make sure that you have the right, again, cybersecurity things in place. I have a CTO that I work very closely with, and he's just like he's a godsend. But at one point, there was somebody on my team, and I was like, I think I'm gonna have to let them go. And he was like, "Do you want to back up your files?" And I straight up said, I think we have like a really amicable relationship. I don't see anything happening, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
I backed up the material and I went in the next day and I saw that this person downloaded and permanently deleted files.
Wow.
And so it just goes to show, right? Like nothing is ever promised. People will be people. But I had the good sense, or I should say, he had the good sense to tell me to back up those files. Um, but I want to just make one extra comment on that. If you are allowing your VA or someone to use their own personal email address for things, that could be a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
In my business, I make sure that I issue out, and yes, it costs me $15 per person per month, but it's worth it for my business not to go under. I issue out email addresses that my VAs have to use. Again, if things go south, I go into Google Workspace and, turn off access to their email. So I kind of have like a double layer of protection there.
Yeah.
But there's only, again, you try your hardest. There's only so much you can do. The trust factor. I just want to say, like, even if you hire somebody onshore in person, right? You've heard stories of somebody's family member
Yeah.
taking money from the business. Like there's never it's never foolproof, but there are things you can do to try to safeguard against it.
Very true. Very true. I think that thing you talked about, the email, is something I do too. Like for instance, in our business, what we do, first of all, if it's people working in the office, they always have a laptop issued from the company. If it's
Mhm.
virtual, if they are virtual, then we only use Google Chrome for anything browsing, and each person has a Google Chrome profile linked to their email, and that's the only place they walk through. So that way, now, if anything happens, you just lock off that profile and you have everything
Perfect.
back to you. Yeah. So I
Yes,
think that's
yes. And you get everything back. And that's a really great point too, is, I know with
yes,
Google, if there's any sort of correspondence, right, that comes through that email or whatnot, I have it send it directly to me or to my
yes.
personal assistant. And so I'll know. I'll know.
Very true. Okay, so now for business owners, one thing they would always look at is the numbers, the money they make or the money they save. So how can business owners measure the return on investment or track their success using the system you talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will say that some of that you have to know your own numbers for your business, right? Like you have to know, because truthfully, my job is finding somebody that I'm going to integrate into your business. And the hope for me is like this person just becomes part of the family, part of your business. And it's like I'm kind of hands off, right? So you do have to know the numbers of your own business so that you can make the comparison, right? But we recently did a case study with one of our clients who has hired four medical billers through us, and the price of all four VAs is basically one and a half people onshore.
Wow.
So they've got four full-time people for the same amount that they would have paid one full-time person, I guess, and a part-time person. I guess that's the way that you would look at it, right? Um, that alone, plus the manpower. So I know that when I did the case study with the CFO, and he said that when he first joined into this company, their billing of services was basically trailing 21 days behind
Wow.
when he first started. When they brought us in, they were trailing about 3 to 5 days behind. And now we are basically within 24 hours to the point where our VAs are getting things processed, through to insurance, handling those claims and whatnot. And they're almost looking for more work. So, so it's not in that sense, it's not about physical dollars saved per se, right, by hiring, but rather the time. And I mean, they say, right, what is the thing? They say when you're younger, you will trade time for money,
Yeah.
but and that time is the most valuable currency, right? And so when we get older, we always want to trade money to have more time.
Yes.
And so it's not a physical dollar savings there. You're saving on the labor, but what you're doing is you're processing those claims faster, getting more money in, and so that is a completely different way of measuring, the level of profits that you're going to be getting, or perks. I'm missing the word from my brain right now because I'm on the spot, right? But there's so many different factors to look at. And I think overall too, the whole work-life balance, I have a lot of people saying work-life balance is a sham, right? There's no such thing as work-life balance. It's about learning how to live your life like working in something that you love to do, which we all
Yeah.
have kind of known forever, right? You do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Um, I will say that that's probably the biggest thing for me, is the fact that I've been able to truly find that work-life balance having my VA, because I mean, her and I are only two people and there still are not enough hours in the day, but I know that if I need a day, or I just need to like zone out for a couple of hours, like my business isn't going to crumble
Yeah.
because there, like there's always somebody else that has eyes on things. So
Yeah.
there's multiple ways to measure that whole, you know, profitability. Is it your work life balance? Is it physical dollars? Is it time that you're getting back?
Amazing. So now for AI is something that keeps changing, and you've mentioned a lot of AI tools like Gamma, ChatGPT, and Co that do different things. You even mentioned the site where you can. There's an AI for that for this also, right? Yes, where you
Yep.
can find different AI tools for different things. So yeah, AI, I'm sure you've noticed, keeps changing so much. So now looking at this combination that you talk about, out using a human VA and AI. How do you see this changing? How do you see this evolving over the next maybe 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? What do you think will
Yeah.
change?
Um, so I kind of joke about this. I do say, like, I even feel like I don't know what this world is going to look like in 10 years, and my entire business might be like void in 10 years. I don't know. But here's what I do know. Um, AI right now has its limitations, right?
Yeah,
One of the biggest things is the fact that AI will never be able to do what humans can do, which is be creative or have that empathy, right, for somebody else. So
yeah,
AI has its limitations. In the very same respect, VAs have their limitations. The number of hours worked per day, their skill levels, right? They may be like 10 out of 10 on digital marketing, but they don't really know how to do data analysis, right? And so that is kind of like where we're finding the synergy of AI technology with VAs. So where I see this going, I'm not 100% sure, because like you said, AI is changing all the time. What I will say, slight plug over here coming out of left field, is test out these AI tools. Unless you are fully in love with it, don't commit to the year. Don't commit, because I've done it. I've been like, oh my God, this is the best AI tool I've seen. I've
yeah,
paid for the, and then like I go back, I go to another class of his, and he tells me a brand new tool that basically does the same exact thing that I paid for, but better.
yeah,
So AI is like literally changing that fast, where, find something you really love, but go month to month. Just go month to month, because there's probably gonna be something bigger and better. Um, my hopes is that we start developing tools that are more of like your one-stop shop, and I'm seeing a lot of those already. Like I said, Gamma is a really great example where it can do the like your PowerPoint, your slide decks, your website creation, and documents, right? Amazon Bedrock is another really great example where it has like a built-in agent where I'm going to throw a lot of AI names out here, which if people are not really into it, it might just kind of throw them for a loop. But there's a website called make.com, which is basically just like Zapier, but more powerful. And I started going through Make Academy to learn how to use it. And it's a lot. And you have to figure out how to, use these different operations, functions, conditions. And then I went to Amazon Web Services. I went to like their AI meeting and they were showing us Amazon Bedrock. And in my brain, or what I saw, the AI agent for Amazon Bedrock was what I was learning on make.com.
Hmm.
So it's like, again, it's the race for AI technology, right? Like who's already figured out what makes this better? So I don't know, Peter. Like, I really don't know what it's going to look like in 5 to 10 years. But what I do know is in order for you to get your business up and over that hump or to the next level and doing it faster, now is the time to take advantage of the power of AI technology with the
Yeah.
human touch of the VA. That like it's so important. I'll just give you like one example using any sort of chat bot on your website. I think those literal virtual assistants, AI chatbots for customer service, I think they're fantastic. But Peter, if you're having an issue and it's a bigger issue than when is my package arriving, and then the AI chatbot goes through and is like, oh, you can expect it in 2 days. If you have a bigger issue than that, and you go onto a chatbot, are you going to be thrilled with the results that you get after it's like, oh, like, tell me your problem, yes or no? Tell me your problem, yes or no? It's going to drive you nuts, right?
Yeah.
That is where the synergy should happen. Okay. Like get yourself that chat bot on your website to handle all those little questions that you don't have time for. And is, to be blunt about it, it's a waste of everyone's time,
Yeah.
right? There's more to be done. Get the chat bot for that. But the second the issue is bigger than something really a simple question, that's when your VA should be able to step in on your behalf and solve that problem. Right. So that is like a prime example of the synergies that I'm talking about between using the AI, but also having the human element still involved.
Nice. All right. So now going on this journey, building this business, working with different clients and all that. If you look back at when you started this business, what's one piece of advice you wish somebody had given you at the point where you started out?
That is that's a fantastic question. And I do have a fantastic answer. And it was because my VA had found somebody to do my website for me. And um, in my business, I am very, what is the word? I put a lot of stock in the relationship, as you can
Hmm.
probably guess at this point, right? And so, I'm not just hiring somebody to do a service and washing my hands of them. Okay, like
Yeah.
I want people to remain in my life and whatnot. I'm talking to this woman who's doing my website, and we ended up having a 3 hour long Microsoft Teams chat. Okay, typing out for 3 hours because I was just kind of telling her, like, going over the frustrations in my business and the website stuff, and she said, if it were me, this is how I would have done it.
Yeah.
I would have started my which this is the advice. I would have started my business. I would have gotten the vision, made my outline of where I want to go with it, and start creating some SOPs, some of those standard operating procedures. Second part, I would hire a VA. This is not from me. This is not a plug. This is what she said. Second part, I would hire a VA so I could body double and start knocking off those tasks right and left, right, to build this business faster. And then the third part is about going out and finding the clients because now you already have that foundation built,
Yeah.
right? And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people, including myself, we want to make sure that something is perfect before we roll it out. But what I've also learned is build the outside of the car, make everybody think that the car is done, right? You're doing your sales, you're showing people this car. Do you want to buy this car? Yes, absolutely. Great. Grab that paycheck. And then when they leave, keep working on the inside of the car.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it doesn't have to be perfect for you to get those baby wins to fund your business in the beginning, especially if you're bootstrapping. Get those baby wins. This way, you're able to continue to pay your VA, right? You're just getting things accomplished twice as fast, if not faster, if you're going to integrate AI technology as well. But that is the way essentially to efficiently build your business without so much downtime or lag in between. Start with an idea, start with an outline, create a couple of standard operating procedures, hire a VA. Now that that's done, go out and grab the business and sell what you know you can sell because that money will fund the rest.
Amazing. So now for listeners or people watching who want to continue this conversation, for people who want to learn more about this process you talked about, or for people who maybe want to offshore some tasks or some roles in their companies, what's the best way they can reach you?
Absolutely. So we've got our website. I will say that by the time you listen to this, there will be some freebies on there. We're in the process of creating these guides and whatnot and what to look for because ultimately I might not be the best fit for your business, and that's okay. There's plenty of love to go around, but I also want people to be prepared. So there will be some freebies on our website, which is projectoutsource.co. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Jenna Hatch, and then all of our socials between Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. It's just, was it backslash or forward slash Jenna M Hatch. So you can
Okay.
connect on all socials using that handle.
All right. So projectoutsource.co on the for the website, then Jenna Hatch on all socials. So those will be in the show notes. Those will be on the screen once this episode goes live.
Awesome. Well, Peter, thank you so much for having me today. This is a wonderful conversation.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Thank you so much for sharing. I think I actually learned picked up a bit of things. I'll research after
Right.
this.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Just every day's a school day.
True, true. All right. So for the listeners, if you've heard that, so Project outsource.co, then if you learned something from this episode, learn something about outsourcing, learn something about using AI, learn maybe one or two new AI tools you'd like to explore, then share this episode with someone else who you know or feel it might help. Until next week, when we are back with a brand new episode, don't forget to keep taking your business. Bye for now.